So we're gonna do the Macho Man today. Let me see. I don't know if I can kick this tree down. I doubt it. I really do. But if it does happen, I'll be very happy. Okay? Okay? Again, masks on the ground all around is seriously bad for the ecology. You know, this stuff doesn't decompose, this cotton or whatever the freaking hell this is. And especially the other fibers used in the disposable ones. It's just absolutely terrible. It's actually worse than the reason that they were used for in the first place. Not easy on uneven ground, naturally. And trying to get the heel to strike is like you're gonna hit like a soccer ball on the inside here, or on the outside blade. So, the back kicks. The front kicks are more for sweeps. Like that. You just, if all you gotta do is just smack someone across the face with the open side of the palm, and they're not getting back up, really. It's very easy. Push kick is easy too. You can do that with the front. Just got to lean into it and step. But from the back, you're standing still. Right? And if you're on uneven, you don't need to go that high. Right? See, punches. So my knuckles aren't quite there yet, but they will be. You know, pull from the back. It doesn't take that much force to knock somebody out. It really does, especially people that are not used to fighting. They don't have the calcification, they don't have the bone density, because if they're not exercising, they might as well be dead. And frankly, when you got issues, mental issues, which are, you know, permeating society because of external factors, one of them being, a few of them being, you know, environmental contamination through industrial runoff, and then pharmaceuticals altering brain chemistry, and also hormones. You know, how many people are on you know, birth control and are on, you know, sex hormones like testosterone or estrogen. And our body, once it processes what it's required, will piss it right out. It flush right out the back. So if you can't do it slow, don't do it fast. And I'll tell you, that hurt me too a little bit. You don't want to get into fights. Seriously, like, you don't know what you're up against. You don't know what kind of training the other person has had, what kind of hard life they've had, and if they could throw a knife, you're fucking dead. There's this concept that we need guns to be dangerous, but we don't. What is most dangerous is an intelligent person, because the pen is mightier than the sword. It's been an age-old principle, because knowledge is the key to power, and people who don't have knowledge will use manipulation tactics against you. They'll go about through emotions and personal attacks. All the things behind logical fallacies. So you need to keep your wits about you, because this is more powerful than this is, by a mile. Especially when we're in a rush, the baker's dirty dozen. So, the dirty dozen being human factors that I learned from aviation. And these are absolutely essential to a good job. You have to do and be respectful of these factors in order to get the best result. Because there's no other way that the airplane is going to fly. Some bolt's going to get loose, someone's going to forget something before close up. It's just like being a doctor. And in fact, aircraft mechanics have as much responsibility, if not more, than a GP or any other kind of practitioner, because it takes an extreme amount of mental stability, analytical nature, and follow through to accomplish the task. And the fact that you have to have tactile and analytical intelligence is so rare that it's a gift when someone is actually really good at it. But it's really intimidating, because at that point, being at you're very much an engineer, at the same level as an engineer. There is very little difference between, at the top of the game, between an individual that has their license, a license to practice, actually, right? AME in Canada, aircraft maintenance engineer. Now, I like to make fun of the Americans because of how the AMP works. And basically, they can get their license out of a Cracker Jack box as soon as they prove that they can build an aircraft, a kit aircraft, in their garage. But that requires a lot of ingenuity and a lot of smarts. I'll respect that. But what we really need is education, and establish a standard of trade, just like the Germans did in the 1920s and 30s. Because we need, actually earlier, someone can correct me on this, to me, the story is more important than the dates and names. There's a lot of people within arts education, especially, say anthropology, or in history, in sociology, in movements and stuff like this, that they obsess over the little details like that. But why? Let the student follow through, and then get the dates and the names and the figures, because then it's the story that matters. Because the details can get lost through history, definitely, and that's where you get beaten to the punch. So you have to fight back, you have to stand up, you have to defend a thesis. Absolutely. And that's the whole point, is that if you don't have confidence in your own writing or in your own doing, hard training. Because knowledge is to be gained. It is to be earned. It's supposed to be some sort of sacrifice in the pursuit, so that you understand the weight of the responsibility of communication. And a lot of academics, they get stuck in this concept called, the ivory tower, where, they spent so much time, thinking about these abstract and esoteric subjects and subject material, that they have a hard time communicating to everyday people. Just because you don't speak Latin or you don't speak multiple languages doesn't mean you're stupid. There's a lot of things that have happened over the past 2 decades in the education system that have been of detriment to all of us. It's a problem. It's a huge problem. Because, you think about how men, especially, have been basically pushed out of academia because of, how the education system works, or was turned into through anxiety and fear of the internet taking over the entire educational space. There was a thing called the MOOCs, massive online organizational courses, or whatever it is. So there were different organizations, will say like MIT, OpenCourseWare, and putting up their lectures to spread the information, because there are no secrets in the age of information. We can't do this anymore. It doesn't make sense, to covet this stuff and hold it close, because you need these lines of code, the language, right, to establish a program. Because otherwise, there's no pilots, there's no doctors, and there's no engineers. And the education system over the years started catering to women, especially young women, because young women are extremely vulnerable. They're very good at memorization and repetition, especially through language. And so, the message is lost through the communication. And, because there was what was the problem? I experienced this myself, when I went to school, in university, the first time going to post-secondary, that the money was always an issue. And the fact that, so first year in residence, you pay out $12,000. Okay? For most people, that's impossible. You get student debts and loaded into basically indentured slavery, because we needed people. Well, the government said, we need people to do these low-level jobs and slave away, because, with all the factory and manufacturing is gone, what do we do? We fucking shipped it offshore. Why would we do that? Oh, it's more profit. It's more profit. It's better. It's better. And that's what led to those hard drives being lost, okay? And then also the financial collapse of 2008, because, people were speculating, and they were making bets, and hedging bets, gambling, right? Gambling and addiction is a very huge problem. Having grown up around addicts and very vulnerable people because of my experience, my parents' experience with Teen Challenge Farm, having worked for them for years. I have a privilege. I have a gift that was given to me, and I didn't exactly appreciate that. We got to appreciate our gifts. We can't just exist in this very moment and forget about the past, because as the principle of history is, as soon as you forget what happens, you don't know what's going on now, and then you can't predict the future, and then the history cycle repeats over and over and over again. And you got to stop the cycle. We can't keep doing this. It's not human. And we need to be more human. See, propaganda is very powerful, and again, people will accuse me, look at this fucking psycho wearing these sunglasses, looking all nice, but a poor man can only afford the best, And you know what a poor man has instead of money? Time and information. That's all.